Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and we're back with another episode of my Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020 playthrough. This time playing as the UAB Blazers, and we are going to go through the Final Four tournament. This episode will probably take a look at how most of the conference tournaments finished up. I kind of like going through those, even though UAB is not going to be in a tournament, postseason tournament this year. I still think it's kind of fun to see what the rest of college basketball is looking like, who the dominant teams are, and how the tournament plays out. My experience, this is, if you've been a long-time viewer, you'll know I've gone through a lot of these. This is probably ninth season overall. You don't see too many surprises. A lot of times it's those top seeds who get through, but I'm kind of hoping for a Cinderella one of these years to make it all the way. We'll see if that happens this year, but I want to finish up this week playing out. I left it last episode where we had just finished Conference USA tournament, and UAB, despite having a poor season, really poor season, regular season, we won 2 games in the tournament, which is the best showing we've had in that tournament since I've been with this team. We're 1 game away from making it to the final in the conference tournament. So I'm hoping that's a positive thing to build on. I know our point guard, freshman point guard who I recruited last season, had a great tournament. I'm hoping that's a good sign for him next year. But we are getting towards the end of, getting towards the end now of all of the tournaments, and I think if I were to go through and look at them, I think most of them are done, but not quite. Those big tournaments still have 1 more game left, like Boston College. What I'm going to do is I'm going to advance to, let's see, I think I'll finish this day, and we'll take a look if there are any tournaments still left. I don't think so, but so we're at the selection show. But I want to go through the tournaments once we get there. So let's go ahead and advance to that. I'm going to skip through this. We'll look at the brackets individually. I think eventually I'll probably want to go through this when, if I start building a team that's, ranked or has some good seasons, I may go through that. But for now, we're just going to go skip through, look at the tournaments first off. So the ACC tournament went to Louisville. They were the 3 seed in this tournament. They 1-point win over Boston College. That's pretty incredible. And then Atlantic Sun went to Liberty, Atlantic 10, St. Joseph's over Richmond, so some 3 seeds there. Big East, Butler over Villanova. Butler has looked really good in this playthrough. Really, the whole 9 seasons, they've had some good good teams. I'm just going to look at mainly the big conferences here. So Big Ten, we got a surprise here. Indiana, 9 seed, made it all the way to the championship. Iowa knocked them off. Indiana beat Michigan State early, so that's pretty cool. My old team, Penn State. I showed you, I think, their record last episode. They are terrible. I left them in a pretty bad spot, and they haven't recovered. So still having trouble. They're still having trouble just even finishing 500. Big 12, no surprise, Kansas. They beat West Virginia, and then Big West, not a big tournament there. So we got the Conference USA that went to Texas El Paso, who were the number 1 seed and are probably going to be the only team out of this conference to make the Final Four tournament. But like I say, we did pretty good here. Big win early over Western Kentucky, another big win against Rice, and then we met UTEP there, and that was, I think, Charlotte, probably they were looking for an upset, which they got against Florida Atlantic. I wish we'd had those guys in that final game for us, but wasn't to be. So scrolling down, we got who's another good one? OVC, my old team, Austin P. Looks like they made it to the championship. They were the top seed in this conference. I didn't look at how Austin P was doing this year, but hey, they're back competitive again. Lost to Belmont in the tournament though, so unfortunately they're probably not going to make the Final Four. But we got Pac-12 here. Arizona, easy over Colorado. Colorado upset. Well, California was upset. Oregon was upset. But Arizona, another dominant team in this playthrough. SEC went to Arkansas. They are a dominant team in this playthrough. I think they've either won the championship before in the 9 seasons I've done this, or made it to the final at least once. Who else do we have here? St. Mary's 2-point win over Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference. Yeah, that'll probably do it for the tournaments. But I'm curious now, having seen Austin P there, what they did. I want to look and see what kind of year they had. I thought I had checked them out. No, look at that. 15-3 in conference, 21-10. Unfortunately, they just play in such a low prestige conference. They probably won't get any notice there. But great season from them. Austin P, we're several years removed from them. I'm not going to recognize any of these guys, I'm sure. Yeah. So they've already cycled through the team that I have. But hey, good to see them winning again. So now it's going to go down to Final Four tournament. We're not going to make any tournaments here, but I want to look at. So that was a conference tournament. So let's look at who we got in the CIT, for instance. It's listed as WL just because I didn't change it. See if we got any teams here that I would recognize. So we got in the East region, I'm not seeing anybody. Midwest, North Dakota State, who beat us in this tournament last year or 2 seasons ago. No, it was last year. Sorry. In the South, Austin P. They're 1 seed in this tournament. Unfortunately, they didn't even make the NIT with that kind of season. That's I think that's a little unfair, really, to them. Florida International made this tournament as a 2 seed, so they're a Conference USA team. And then anybody else? I don't see anybody else from our. Now the Invitational, is that early? No, it's still postseason. So Gonzaga's in this one. Old Dominion makes it from Conference USA, and Charlotte makes it. Western Kentucky made it. So we got 3 teams in the CBI, and now the last one, NIT, we got Florida Atlantic, an 8 seed. Sorry, that was in the Midwest. In the East, Midwest, South, and then the West. So we got a few teams here making it from our conference. So what do we have? I'll look at that again here. So we had UTEP in the Final Four tournament, Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, Florida International, Western Kentucky. Rice didn't make a tournament. But, that's a pretty decent showing. That's like 5 teams, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams made it to a postseason tournament from this conference. So that's pretty good. And now let's go ahead and hop over to the Final Four. And we're going to go through real quick to get to the play-in so that we get the final brackets, and we'll take a look at it. Curious how UTEP is gonna do in this tournament, because they really look good in the Conference USA tournament for sure. So it could be that they might be poised to make a good showing. So let's go through the brackets here. Charlotte region, Butler, number 1 seed here. Texas El Paso, they're going to be 12th seed playing LSU, who beat us in the regular season. That's pretty good matchup. I don't know. They might. We played them. I think we played Louisiana State fairly close in our game. We were on the road and may have lost by 7 or something like that. So who knows? Duke's going to be pretty high in this bracket. Villanova's second. Boston College, Mississippi State, they're third. And then in the Lexington bracket, Arizona tops here. So what do we got? Butler, Arizona, Michigan, Missouri, Notre Dame, Iowa's second in this bracket. The Big Ten, one of the big problems really with Penn State, that Big Ten conference is tough. Just about every Final Four tournament I've gone through, there's I think one season even 3 teams made it to the Final Four from the Big Ten. It's almost every year that a team makes it from Big Ten. And we got Maryland here, the 3 seed, so you can see that's a tough conference. And then Oklahoma, we got Arkansas, top seed here. Vanderbilt, an SEC team. Louisville, 4 seed. Michigan State, 2nd seed. Tennessee, 3 seed. Belmont from the OVC, that's going to be their matchup. And then San Jose, Kansas, another team that dominates every year. We got Mississippi. I don't think I've seen them in this tournament much. Georgetown's a 4 seed. West Virginia, Connecticut, 3rd. So some pretty good teams there. Let's we're 1 day away from starting it off, so let's go ahead and sim until day 1. And we'll start with the Charlotte region, see how these games go. And at this point, I would love to see UTEP make it far, but I'm really looking for some upsets here. That would be nice. So we've got, so far, 1 upset in the Charlotte region. Butler, easy over Youngstown State. California, pretty easy win. UTEP, they're out, 87-71 to LSU. Duke wins. Villanova, close game against Liberty, but I say this is an upset of 10-7, but Nevada beats Hampton, and then Boston College and Mississippi State. So you got, what is that? Pretty, except for that 10 seed, no surprises here. Then Arizona, easy win for them. Clemson, a close one, but they're 9 seed. They make it. Michigan, Notre Dame, Iowa, Virginia, another 10 seed. They knock off 7 Seton Hall. And then Kent State and Maryland. So far, 10 seed. That's the Cinderellas that we have so far. No real big upsets. Looks like Ohio State. I must have missed them. They were a team that was struggling when I was with Penn State, but they've turned it around. Looks like they're making the tournament pretty regularly. And they oh my gosh, we got some upsets. So in the Oklahoma region, Oklahoma City, we got Arkansas, easy win for them, 91-58. Baylor in over Vanderbilt. North Carolina State, Louisville, no surprises there. Michigan State, they're in, easy win for them. But then Creighton beats Pittsburgh, so that's a 10 seed. 10 seeds have won so far in 3 regions. But here's the upsets. Ohio State, big win over Utah State. And then Belmont, a 1-point win over Tennessee. So just like we did my first season with playing this game on YouTube anyway, I went with that Austin Peay team all the way to the Final Four tournament. We matched up against Tennessee. First game, we beat them. So good job for Belmont. Now, last region, San Jose, we got maybe 1 upset here. We got Kansas, easy win for them. Nebraska, wow. They're a team that was really struggling when I was with Penn State. Oregon, Georgetown big, 101 points in their game. West Virginia wins, then Florida beats Miami. So the 10 seed won in every bracket so far. And then Oklahoma State an upset over St. Mary's. Connecticut wins against Indiana State. So right now, the Oklahoma City region is going to have – they're going to have a Cinderella in that Sweet 16, if you want to call it that. It's going to be either 11 seed Ohio State or 14 seed Belmont. So that's it's not too bad. I would love to see one of those get a little bit further. So here we go. We'll look at the Charlotte region when we get through here. I can already see Michigan pass Notre Dame. That was a good matchup, but they won easy. So Butler 1-point win over California. Duke easy over Louisiana State, and then Villanova 100 points over Nevada to win, and then Boston College beats Mississippi State. So we got a 6 seed coming out of this one. That's the lowest, but then it's just 1, 2, 4. So not many surprises. Here, Notre Dame knocked out. They were the 4th seed, but everything else is as you'd expect. Number 1, Arizona, easy over Clemson. Iowa, easy over Virginia. Then Maryland dominates Kent State. So now this Oklahoma City region is where we're going to look and see what kind of teams come out of there. I'm rooting for Belmont, I got to say. I have a little bit of connection still being in that OVC conference, and they can't do it. So it's going to be Arkansas. Close game, but they prevail against Baylor. North Carolina State beats Louisville. Michigan State dominates Creighton. They only had 43 points, but Ohio State knocks out Belmont. So, yeah, it's a big school, big program, but they're going to be more than likely the Cinderella. Well, Oklahoma State, another 11 seed over Connecticut and Florida, beats West Virginia. So, kind of interesting out west. Kansas, easy win for them, but Georgetown, I didn't expect some of those games, but usually when you get to that Final Four, it's kind of a done thing at that point. So we got one more game to go. Charlotte knocked out of their tournament, Conference USA team. So let's go Charlotte region. We got Butler, Duke, Villanova, Boston College, Maryland, and wow, that must have gone to overtime. But so we got out of this region, Butler over Duke, Villanova, Boston College. So we got 1 and 2 in the Elite Eight from Charlotte, and then Lexington, Arizona just humiliated Michigan, 86-55. Iowa, I'm curious. I mean, can I see the box score here? Yeah, overtime. What a game. Iowa just sneaked past them in overtime to win. Iowa's another team. They have won the championship at least one season in the 9 that have done this. So now we go to Oklahoma City. Kind of rooting for Ohio State here. That would be good to see if they're able to prevail. And they beat Michigan State. So you got Arkansas, Ohio State for the final out of this region. Arkansas, really pretty easy win. And then San Jose, Kansas, close, but they're again in Florida. I forgot to, I guess I just didn't realize it, but you had a 10 and 11 going here. So, yeah, I would think, especially if Florida knocks them off, Florida would be the Cinderella in the Final Four. It doesn't show their records here, but okay, now let's go Charlotte first. So Butler, Villanova. Iowa knocks off Arizona. That's going to be kind of an upset. Arizona, that was only their second loss of the year. They have been good year after year after year in this playthrough. So you got Villanova knocks off Butler, and then Lexington region, Iowa over Arizona. So far, no number one seeds advance. And you got Kansas easy over Florida, so their run's over. And you got Arkansas over Ohio State. So you got, for the Final Four, you got 2 number one seeds in there. So it's tough. It's tough to get past. It almost always comes down to the top seeds in these regions when you're doing the games. And I guess we're gonna have. Oh, that's right. The Final Four goes. Well, I want to do it day at a time. Just there shouldn't be that many games to get to Saturday. North Florida, they're still playing in a tournament. I'll take a look at those two just to see kind of how our teams do. So here we go, Arkansas, Kansas. That's tough for those two teams because that's the tough matchup. If I were betting, I would say it's going to be Kansas, Iowa, but we'll play it out and see. It's not. Arkansas, big win over Kansas, 78-67. It came through so quick I wasn't able to see the other game result. And it was Villanova over Iowa. So we got Arkansas, Villanova for the championship. And it goes to Villanova, 97-77. I really think this is Arkansas's second time losing the title game since I've been playing this. I'll take a look at it just out of curiosity. We've got our association award winners announced. I'll take a look at that too. But I want to look at Arkansas. Just, I'm curious because they've really had a good run. They went round of 8 first. No, they were champions, so they made it in 2020, and made it to the Elite 8 1, 2, 3, 4, several times. So they're definitely one heck of a team. Let me look. I don't know if I can do it. I think I can do it from here. Let me take a look at the other tournaments just to see how some of our teams played here. What's this AA, American Athletic Conference? I don't know why it's at the bottom there. It's kind of odd. But the CIT, we got any of our team. Let's see, I don't see anybody there. Midwest. Yeah, Austin Peay was knocked out early. Florida International, they won their first game, lost the second, went to Iowa State. And it looks like for the finals, this one went to North Florida over Wofford. And then the CBI tournament. So we had some pretty good games here. Old Dominion, they made it to pretty far. Charlotte made it at least a little bit farther than, they won their opening game against Western Kentucky. And in the finals, Old Dominion made that Final Four, but they couldn't. They lost to Long Beach State. Wichita State wins the tournament. And then in the NIT, I forget if there were anybody who made it from. Yeah, Florida Atlantic made it from Conference USA. They lost their first game there, so they didn't make it too far. And yeah, it looks like that was it for them. So the final went to Cincinnati here over Marquette. And I think that's it. So let's advance and we'll take a look at the conference winners and things like that. All right, so let's see. I guess we can look at we can probably look at the entire association here just to see. I mean, we got Roy Griffith, pretty much player of the year. The Final Four outstanding player went to Ford out of Villanova. Player of the year, defensive player of the year. So he kind of racked them all up. Coach of the year, Derek Meeks from Arizona. Man, Tim Collins, freshman of the year. Gosh, 5-star, 10. Look at that. He has 10 in several categories. That's amazing. Just for grins, I guess. Let's take a look at the first team All-American. We got Butler, Ohio State, Miami, Connecticut, Creighton. Second team, Michigan, Butler again, Missouri, Connecticut, Georgetown. Let's take a look at some of the Big Ten, for instance, just to see if they got any Penn State players there. We got Iowa all across the board. This Tim Collins, freshman. Maryland, Coach of the Year. First team All-Conference, you got Indiana, Ohio State. Looking for some Penn State guys, but not seeing them. Nebraska has a pretty decent center here. I'm not going to see his ratings, but he looked pretty good. And looking at the OVC, Belmont, Ronnie Spink, player of the year there. Small forward, side. Coach of the year, Derek Harrington. That name sounds familiar. I think I've come across him maybe somehow when he was looking for a job or something, but he's Coach of the Year, first team All-Conference, second team, no Austin Peay guys there. So let's go look at our Conference USA. Individual awards, Tommy Jordan, Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Marquez Campbell, Freshman of the Year. That doesn't surprise me. This guy just had a great great all-around season. I hope the assists come up a little bit next year, but what I was really impressed with are those games in the this one game against Rice in that Conference USA tournament. He dominated. He was it 9 for 13 from 3 points. He didn't have a lot of assists, but man, he won that game for us probably more than anybody else on the team. I hope that he's, his relationships are pretty good. I'm hoping he's back next year. That would be nice. And then first team all conference. So we got Western Kentucky, UAB. Dave Horton made it this year. Good job from him. He was second team last year, so he's going to end his career with first team honors. I don't know if it gives you. It doesn't really give you, I don't think. There are awards here. Maybe that's under the team. No, here it is. So he's first team this year. No, he was first team last year. I thought he was second team, so good job from him. I think our center, was second team. So let's take a look at second team. Yeah, nobody makes it from here, but that's that's kind of to be expected. I think if anybody had a chance, it's probably Campbell. So that's going to do it. We're gonna go. I think the next stage here is to look at what the athletic director and the school, I guess the administration, thinks of our season. They're not going to be happy. I mean, we're, I guess you could say the showing we had in the postseason, the Conference USA tournament was good, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference in terms of how our season's going to be looked at. All right, so let's see what we got here. So this will be the coaching jobs available, season review. We failed we failed at everything. So our prestige went down. Oh, that's so tough. And if I look at the recruiting class now, it's about the same where it was. I was hoping that Dyer would have improved, and there's still a chance he'll improve going into once we get the off season out of the way. I didn't really see much in terms of other teams that are interested. So now we're going through the head coach hiring phase. I think for us as a staff, we're going to have to address some assistants here. I'm probably going to keep these guys here, and I'm going to look with somebody who's got some player development ability. I don't know if you can. I'm not to the point where I'm hiring coaches right now, so I think for now it's just head coaches, and I've got 3 years remaining, so at least they didn't fire me. So we'll go ahead and advance. I probably won't go through the coaching phase here, but this is just if I wish to apply for any jobs, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to, I think if I go to the event inbox, I can skip it from there. No, can't. So I'm going to have to advance from the actual screen. But I know for me, this was a disappointing season. I don't know, if I'm really just struggling with this game or not. So it's gonna come down to, I think, if those younger guys, now we're in staff hiring. I'll probably go through that offline. If you want to see that in the future, though, let me know, and I'll kind of show you how it works. It's basically a bid process. You go through and look at the guys that are available and try to match them up to slots you have open. One of the things that we're not into the next season yet, I don't think, and there is a moment when it kind of ticks over, and all these, when the seniors leave, your roster, then you'll see the actual ratings of the players that you have. So one thing to look at right now, I'm seeing Marquez Campbell, 3 stars current ability, so that's really good. If he holds on to that, I'll be happy. Victor Wilson, he's looking pretty good ratings wise if that holds true. I mean, he's mainly been a bench player. Grant McCleary, I'm not seeing much progression from him. So again, that's gonna show once we get into next season, which we're not in there yet. Dave Horton, man, I'm gonna miss him. Great player for us. And then Ryan Y, I'm hoping he develops a little bit too. And then Graves, I hope he comes to us with at least these current ratings still the same. He looks really good. You match his size with all of these. He's even a good outside shooter and free throw shooter. That would be, man, I just hope he keeps these ratings. I have seen it fluctuate to the point, and that a lot of that, it's a fog of war concept. A lot of that is because whoever you've got on your staff, whichever coach you're using for scouting, this guy, he's got a 1 ability. So it might be a good idea to shift it around a little bit. Maybe this guy should be first assistant, and maybe he should work on player development if I get a good assistant that has scouting ability. But we'll have to see that when I go to the hiring process. But a lot to be determined with this team. I do see that even John Martin improved a little bit at small forward in terms of his individual rating. Same with Jones. He's a 5.5 star potential, 4.5 star, right now. So he might be the guy I need to focus on. You can see individually some of his ratings, if you've been paying attention to that through the year, they went up. So Again, I'm not expecting a quick turnaround from this team. I do think it would be nice though if we had 2 seasons with like you take Campbell for instance, 3 more years of eligibility, Martin and Jones with 2 and 3 years of eligibility left. If those guys, and McCleary 2 more years left, if those guys developed into 3 and 4 star players, we might have 2 good seasons where we're really competitive and can get the prestige up and all that stuff. Where we get into a cycle of we're going to be able to get better quality players, and we're going to be more competitive year to year. That's what I'm looking for. But that'll probably do it for this episode. I think I'm going to go through a lot of all-season stuff and come back ready to start the season non-conference schedule next episode. Things I'm going to focus on, I got to fill at staff position, but I'm also going to be looking at the players that I've got coming in. I really want to change some strategy around. I want to start working on a little bit more man-to-man on defense, and I want to look at probably moving away from high post a little bit or triangle, one of these two, and moving into a flex offense, and working on that for this year. I think we can be a little bit better team if we have that kind of offense running. But we'll see. We'll see how the recruits I get, how they look, and how, like if I look at the players that are available, let's see, McCleary, for instance, he doesn't really have any flex or shuffle, for instance, 5 out. Those are offenses we haven't run since he's been here, so he doesn't have any familiarity with them. I don't want to overload him too much. I want to kind of try to stick to the offenses that we've been running as much as I can, so that they're not stuck having to learn a new offense at the same time I'm trying to win. So that's the plan. It'll be a small tweak is what I'm saying, I guess. But as always, thanks for watching. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next episode.